Okay, so welcome back to the Pop My Cherry podcast. So I've got Tootsie.
I have made it now.
You've made it now. Come on.
I am on the podcast
Right.
with J-Love.
Stop. What do you think of the set? Out of
Love
curiosity.
it.
Do you? I ask
Absolutely
everybody
love it.
this.
Love the feathers. Down, put that hat on.
Yeah.
Gonna take this home in my
Yeah.
handbag.
Well, I don't know. You are a cheeky one too. You will try to do it whenever I'm not looking, but it's You're like me. I think we're both very like flamboyant. So like you'd have quite like nice interiors and stuff in your home, wouldn't you? Like very.
Well, if the P-Man wasn't so miserable, I'd have
Yes.
nicer ones.
Yeah, but no.
Yes, no, I'm only joking. I always like I can't understand why anybody would need an interior designer to come in.
No.
Because if I had loads of money, I would have all the
So
ideas.
say for instance, if I was like a genie with like a magic lamp, could you go like crazy? Would you go like colourful? What would be like your vibe? Or
I do love traditional, but I love colour.
okay,
So I'm not into, everything now is very, and it's beautiful. It's all very like bland and monotone.
and very Scandinavian, and
yeah.
yeah.
That is not me whatsoever.
Not me.
I love
No.
cozy fires. I love wallpaper, gaudy lamps,
Yes.
curtains, all of that. So.
And what
But
about
a
like,
Downton Abbey and me.
yeah, so like a Downtown Abbey, but a gay man in Downtown Abbey. Yes.
Couldn't have said it better.
So everybody listening, if you do not know, this is I call you Mama G.
Yeah.
Always have. We go way back. But Geraldine, would you still be known as Serenity Ten? It still would be like your social
Yeah, that's
name,
my
wouldn't it be?
Yeah, definitely. That's my
Yes.
brand, Serenity Ten. Like.
Serenity 10. And you're not a stranger to social media. Like a lot of people will know you. How would you describe yourself? Because I think you're kind of like a jack of all trades.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I want to do is just be myself.
Yeah.
But I came onto social media at the very beginning. I was 50
Yeah.
and I wanted to own my own business because I'd never ever done that. And like I'd been self-employed in businesses. I've never actually done
Yeah.
9 to 5 for a very long time. But that's the reason I come on social media was to sell clothes.
Sell
I opened
clothes.
up an
I
online
Yeah.
clothes shop.
The online yeah,
Which
I remember.
lasted all of 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Did you not?
2 years.
2 years.
No, it's very different going out buying clothes than it
Yeah.
is actually trying to sell them. I hated it.
Really?
And like to be honest with it, because I hadn't a physical shop,
Yes.
it was very difficult because I love certain brands. I was heading away to like Spain and everywhere and buying all these gorgeous brands I
yes.
would wear myself.
Yourself.
And it's difficult to sell that
Yes.
genre of like the cost basically online.
Yes.
It really is.
I get you, and I think as well it's like whenever your personal taste is maybe a bit more like I'm eccentric. Say if I was trying to do like a clear out and I'm trying to sell my stuff in like Depop or like Vinted,
Yeah.
nobody ever wants to buy it. Like never. It's like nobody wants to wear like a harness or like like all the wacky shit that I would wear. It's like it never gets sold.
I get that, but that's you. And you see,
you're
and
very flamboyant.
I
too,
was
though.
advised now, whenever you're opening this business, don't think of yourself when
Yeah.
you're away buying clothes and things like that. But I found it so hard to sell something that was just ordinary.
Yeah.
And I'm not a great businesswoman, so really
No.
and truly, like it didn't work out. I didn't make any money whatsoever. Thank God it wasn't a physical shop, and I called it a day after 2 years. So that's what brought me on social media, Instagram.
Yeah. But then you still kept the social media going, though.
Still kept it going, yeah.
So how many years have you been in social media now? Then, because I remember all that. That was about at least like 5 years.
5.
ago.
It must be about 5
5,
now.
yeah.
Because that when I had the shop, when I was 50, I went on it.
Oh my
Instagram
gosh.
for the first time, yeah.
And do you enjoy it?
Sometimes.
Sometimes maybe we'll get into that. I think
Yeah,
later on. But
yeah.
like for anybody, like I think author, you're an author. I'd say you're like an advocate. You're an ambassador. A personality. Jack of all trades, but you have a very, very interesting story. And obviously, like this is the month of January, so it's kind of the whole ethos for our episodes this month is very much like, I suppose this is the time where people start to maybe look a bit more inward and think of like certain like lifestyle changes that they want to make, or if there's something that they maybe want to like change within their life that they're not happy with. I always think January, like, do you like the new year? Or how do you feel
now
about it?
I do.
Yes.
But I mean, I never used to.
Really, right.
But like for the last 10 years, I love New Year. I just think it's like
Yeah.
every Monday to me.
Yeah.
I love Mondays now that I never used to.
Because Monday feels like the beginning of a week.
Beginning of a week. And
Yeah.
New Year's the beginning of a new year, beginning of so many possibilities. And,
yeah. And then do you have any goals for this year?
Not this year.
Not this year.
I mean, I made, actually, that was my New Year resolution that I wasn't going to make any friggin' resolutions.
I love that.
Yeah. None this year. Put myself under no pressure whatsoever
No.
because I honestly think when you do it, and if you look back and you haven't achieved, it can come in as a bit of disappointment, a bit of a failure.
Yeah, I think.
So I think I'm grand the way I am.
100%. I love it. 100. But it is, I do think.
Changing nothing, Gerry.
Changing nothing. I think the last year, I think there was a lot of pressure. I think the cost of living, I know it sounds so like everybody talks about the fucking cost of living, but like it's a pressurizing time. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people have definitely been under a lot of personal stresses. And I think
Totally
the
agree.
one thing I'm definitely taking this year is I'm really, really slowing it all down because I think sometimes life can get very busy and then we're not taking care of ourselves. And that's sometimes, like, I think that's something that always needs to be the priority. Like, so having boundaries, not saying yes to everything, not you're like me.
I was going to ask, what are you going to slow down?
I know.
You're travelling.
I know. Shut up. I'll always go away on a holiday. I know, but just slowing down a wee bit.
And that's what you should always do.
Holidays and
Make
travel.
your memories.
Make the memories. No, 100%. That's something I'll always prioritise. But you've shared obviously more. Like, when did you kind of open up more with like your story? So it was something I was not always familiar of. With yourself, you would never, like anybody that would have ever met you, you would never have known the things that you've obviously went through.
Yeah, my background. So I literally was in sobriety 7 years before I actually come out and said it on social media. So like 7 years is a long time. You know, a lot of people think, and they would say to me, you know, God, you're so brave and you share your story, and how do you do that? Because most of us as recovering addicts or recovering alcoholic, in my case, we hide who we are. Yeah. Like, you know, I have a niche of people around me that, you know, are the same as me, are in recovery, and they would die if anybody knew that they were in recovery. Yeah. And they won't go, like they wouldn't go anywhere local to a meeting or anything in case we'd run into somebody else and stuff like that. Yeah. So I don't personally get that now. Yeah. But back then, yes, I probably would have, you know. So I'm only talking about it 3 years. Yeah. And people think I've talked about it forever. Forever. But I haven't. And then tell me this, what made you want to talk about it? Because obviously you would have had, so if it was 3 years ago and you were doing social media for 5 years, you were in like the public eye. Yes, I had about in and around 5,000 followers maybe around then. Which I thought, you know, and still do, is a huge following. It's huge, it is. It's, like, if you imagine 5,000 people in a room, absolutely. It's huge. I just felt it was for me, for my age and everything else. You know, there's not a lot of older women on social media. No. Kind of in their mid-50s. And I just thought, I have a platform and I can use it for some good. But you can only do that when you're really comfortable with who you are. Yes. Do you know? Yeah. Because if I was coming on and saying it and like not feeling embarrassed about it or ashamed about it, whatever, I couldn't do that. And I mean, I probably was at the very beginning. Yeah. You know, even though I accepted 100% what was happening. Yeah. I mean, at my very first meeting, and like whenever I went, that's what happened, like obviously, and we'll get into that. Yeah. I suppose when you reach your rock bottom, which I did, and I got to myself to this meeting now. When you're going to an AA meeting, you haven't a clue what the hell AA is. Yeah. Do you know, I grew up in a family that my mother and father didn't drink. There was no, well, we used to have a drinks cabinet in the house, and there is a funny story about that. But, you know, they didn't drink. You know, Daddy was a pioneer, Mommy never drank, and that's just the way it was. The way it was. You know, so drink wasn't a massive big thing. Anyway, I ended up drinking too much, obviously. But when you go to a meeting, you haven't a clue. You're sitting around with all these people. And like most people will take a long time before they would say, right, my name's whatever and I'm an alcoholic. Yeah. So it's your first night when you're at a meeting and you feel very important because, you know, it's not, you could go to meetings for 6 months and you'd never see anybody new maybe coming in. Okay. You know, so like I was a new person that night. The room was packed. It was actually a meeting in Tim. Oh, right. Believe it or not, that was the first meeting I went to. Yeah. And it was an older man, like an awful lot older than me, that took me to my first meeting. And I always still say, he's dead now, he saved my life. What a gentleman and what amazing men, older men that I met through AA. You know, that generation is just amazing. Yeah. But then they say to you, like, you're hearing people talk and you think, what's this all about? It's not like you see in the television. Yeah. So when you see an AA meeting on the television and you know, they're sitting around a wee thing and they stand up, that's not what we do, you know. Yeah. But somebody will chair a meeting and it's probably the best therapy you'll ever get because you get a chance to talk, Gerry, and nobody can interrupt you. Yeah. You know, And they said, look, I know you're new tonight. We understand if you don't want to say it, but would you like to say it? And I just went, yes, my name is Geraldine and I am an alcoholic. And it rolled off my tongue like that. Don't know where that came from, but it just rolled off my tongue. And that was it. I said I was an alcoholic and I never touched a drink from that particular, meeting on. But it's not everybody I would have told that to.
No.
But I did tell it to a room of strangers.
But did you feel it when you were in that room of strangers? I think this is something, I think alcoholism is something, and alcohol abuse, it's something that very much is, I think especially where we're from, it's affected everybody in some sort of a way. It's affected me in so many ways, and it's something that I'm very kind of passionate about. And I think the thing that frustrates me, I suppose, with society is, as you say, about what people perceive an alcoholic to be, what they perceive an AA meeting to be. It's not that kind of,
it's totally different.
There's such ignorance, I still feel,
so
around
much ignorance.
it.
And, and I have said that from the beginning as well, from the start to open up. And it's in my book now, my new book, like, what do you see when you think of the word alcoholic?
Yeah.
And, and it's that word. And that is the reason, like, you asked me a question, why did you come out and talk about it then? It was my children.
Yeah.
So the two older children would often have said to me, Mama, you've such a story to tell. You're on social media.
Yeah.
People like you. I really think you could be helping so many people. Now, my reason for not doing it for a couple of years that they were saying you should do it was my youngest daughter, was only 14 when I stopped.
Okay.
And I could hear other people talking about other people, and they would say, her dad's an alky or whatever. And I thought, there's nobody going to ever say to my child, your mother's an alky, at the local school or whatever. So I had to protect that child.
Yes.
And I had to keep myself very private because of that. Plus, she didn't think that I was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So again, and you do get, there's very few funny moments, but you do get funny moments. And I said to Clena about a week after I started going to AA, I said, Clena, I need to talk to you. And I think I'm an alcoholic. Well, I knew I was an alcoholic, but this is the way I said to her. And she says, oh my God, you're such a drama queen. She said, Jesus Christ, it would only be you. You couldn't just like a drink like everybody else. You have to be an alcoholic, drama queen. And that's the way she left it. Do you know what I mean? She honestly didn't believe that I was an alcoholic. Absolutely not. Because we're great actors and we keep an awful lot head, So it was waiting till she was 21. And then, it wasn't something I had planned. It was a Saturday morning. I was just sitting, as you do. I was on my phone and I thought, I'm going to tell everybody today I'm an alcoholic. Now, my husband didn't even know this, right?
That you were planning to tell?
No. The kids and I had often talked about it, but we didn't know when we'd say it. My husband and I had never talked about whether I would come out and tell anybody else I was an alcoholic. He had never told anybody. So I said, right, I'm just going to do it this afternoon. I'm going to make a wee video. I was very nervous about it. And the wee video was only about a minute long or so, but I went on and said it. But before I did, I checked and made sure with Clena that it was okay with her. And I said, I'm going to tell everybody now on social media about my addiction. I want to help other people. It's something I'm very passionate about. How do you feel about that? And she's, go for it, Mummy.
Love it.
Just go for it. And as long as I had their permission, I was happy enough. So I went on ahead and did it. That's it. You put the phone away. You know the way when you do something and you say,
yes, a big thing. And you're like,
you fling the phone away and say, I don't want to know, don't want to see. Is anybody liking it? And you just fling it to the corner. You'd swear at a bomb in it.
I'm like, I'd see the morning after a night out too.
Yeah.
I'm like,
do you know what I mean, Gerry?
I know.
And that's exactly what I did. Yeah. And then I was sitting having a wee cup of coffee and my hubby was out and he came back in. It was lunchtime and he says, well, what are you at today? And then I bloody phone and then I Facebook because he didn't even know what Instagram was. And I said, I was not out Facebook and I'm only after telling everybody that I'm a recovering alcoholic. And he says, you effing what?
Oh, stop.
And I just kind of laughed and thought, right, I probably should have discussed it with him first. And, he was quite shocked, but he just says, you know what? It's your story to tell. It's not my story, so I can't tell it.
Yeah.
And because he's not on social media and to this day isn't, he doesn't see or hear anything.
So it's not his world.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And for frig's sake, if anybody listening to this, stop going to work and telling him bloody stories about what I'm saying on social media because he doesn't know the half of it. People tell on you all the time.
And no, I don't even see.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing, is even mum is, because my mum.
Yeah, I do. Love Mary.
See, so everybody's mad I can get Ma on this, but she won't come on it. I know. She's mad.
Oh my God, would love her on it.
I would love her on it. She'd be fantastic on it too.
She would be fantastic.
She, say if there's, like wee funny videos that I have of her. Yeah. And she's always like, like somebody will say to her, oh, I seen you in the video, ha ha ha, or oh, I've seen you shouting about the mop, and then she's like, Gerry, what the fuck do you off of me now. And she always threatens. She's
and that's a bit
I'm going to a fucking solicitor. I'm going to a fucking solicitor. You can't keep fucking taking videos and putting them up on the fucking internet without me fucking knowing about it. And she goes mental. And then the tea towels, she was raging about that too.
But Gerry, it's classic what we love to see. People want to see ordinary things. That's what houses are like.
It is. It's real life.
But you can become very unpopular. I don't know about when you're thinking of friends and everything else, my best friends are all friends either that I grew up with, went to school with, or, met when my kids were younger. You're going to meet acquaintances and stuff on social media, but they're not your best friends.
Yes.
So if you go to do anything or you're going anywhere, people say to me, no photographs tonight. Don't you dare put me in that out social media. So you're not very popular among your own wee gang. They bring you down a peg or two.
That is actually true. And it's my friends are very no, we don't want to be. No, you do you or whatever. And it's
But I sometimes think, do they not think with a bit of cop on? You would go to a wedding and, they always feel the need to say to me now, you're not to put anything up on social media. And you think, who puts the friggin' bride up on social media before the bride puts, that's common sense.
I think people think we're
I think we get a wee bit of a bad rap for that.
I think people think we're nearly like a bad seed or no, too much, you're drawing too much attention over our way, keep that over there.
Yeah. We do ask permission and you know what I mean.
But I think this stems from the kind of the culture of this country where it is very much, and I suppose this would likely apply, I say a lot of people that are maybe struggling with, say, any form of a mental health problem, addiction, whatever it may be. Yeah. Often what you'll find is people often will either go into either denial or suppression because of, it's always the fear of the outside noise. And it's oh gosh, I can't. So when you're even saying that you didn't want to say be open about it until Cleana went through school.
Yep.
Because you were wanting to protect your child from,
so
say,
only a handful
the people
of very close friends knew my story.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that was up until about the first 6 months. And then, very close friends, I would start to tell in 6 months. But I mean, a little, you could count in this hand of people that I literally, they're like my vault. I trust them with my world.
Yeah.
And if you knew from the very beginning, you know that I trust you with my world then. Because of that simple reason of things getting out.
Yeah. I know. And it's but then it's this part where it's sometimes I'm like, we're very open people, I feel, and obviously not everybody is open. Some people are more private, but I feel like it's what benefit is it by being suppressed? It's, but and I think this is why a lot of people are struggling in silence. Yeah, because of that thing.
It's a shame, Gerry. So what it is, it's a shame. Nobody wants.
There's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, but
this is what annoys me about it.
No mother, at the end of the day, I am an alcoholic mother. That is what I am. Yeah. I'll always be alcoholic. I'm not a normal drinker, and I'll never be able to drink normally again. And it's that knowledge that I know that keeps me away from actually lifting the first drink ever again. Yeah. But that's nobody. I don't want to be an alcoholic mother. But I'm really glad I found out I was. Yeah. And that I'm now in recovery, if you can understand.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't want to be that and will never tell that they are that. And that is okay. But thank God the new generation are coming up now. And very few in my generation will speak about it. Yeah. Because it's all behind closed doors. But there's not a family. There's not a house that hasn't somebody behind the door that is hiding drinks somewhere or, keeping it a secret of some sort. So it's a shame.
And it is. And I think it's that secrecy and it's that, the feeling that is shame, such a thing that's infiltrated in the society. And I, not to get, political or anything, I think it kind of stems from, religion. I think, it was very much, get your communion or go to your church or go to your Sunday school, you're replenished, but did you hear so-and-so did this? Did you hear so-and-so done that? And what about down the road and da-da-da? Yeah. But we've created this environment where then it's we know it's nearly you don't speak out about something because you're going to be the talk of the town or this. And it's a shame, but we've kind of created that kind of universe here.
Well, we have, and not everybody understands it, because I think
it's a generational thing I think has been passed down.
Yeah, my mommy was one of the most supportive. They never drank, and she was very shocked. Yeah. The day that she was told, and it would have been my rock bottom day. Again, this is very lighthearted. I'm not going to go into anything too serious because, you know my story. Yeah. But my mother was so shocked the day that she got the phone call to come up and see me. And I was literally having a nervous breakdown. Yeah. And her words were, never, ever, ever did I think that out of all my daughters, that this was you.
Yeah.
She was so shocked.
Yeah.
She hadn't a clue I was drinking to that level, didn't know any of it, and found it probably very difficult to accept. But they were so supportive, do you know, in their own wee way. Do you know the way they do it quietly in the background?
Yes.
But she wouldn't want the country knowing it.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure it was difficult for her whenever I started talking about that then as well. And like I was telling her about, because I read a wee book last year, just a wee book of Monday motivations, because again, that's how my Instagram kind of really took off. I used to go out around the forest and do a thing every Monday, because I love Mondays now, because Mondays were oh my God. I mean, I was literally, I can say the word because I was suicidal every Monday. Yeah. I just did not know how to get through a Monday. And that's because your drinking elevates as the week goes on.
Yeah.
And the weekend, like I spent all day Sunday drinking wine, you know, all day. And then you'd wake up on a Monday morning, and that's whenever things weren't too bad. And you think, how am I ever going to, I have a whole week ahead of me again. How am I ever going to cope? So I used to, whenever I got in a good place, Monday was my day and still is. And I would go out around the forest and I would always do a Monday motivation. Yeah. And that's how. So I read a wee Monday motivation book anyway. And I was telling my mommy then last year, I said, I have another book coming out. And obviously the book was about addiction. And she says, well, I hope to Christ I'm dead before it comes out. Do you know? That's what mommy thought. Well, I hope I'm dead before it comes out. And then when it was coming out, she says, well, I hope I'm not in it. And I said, what the hell would you be in it for? Do you know what I mean? What did you do that would pick you in my book?
Do you not know? I just love how like cutting our areas, aren't they? Like, so we're from like the same kind of area, so it's the same kind. I don't know what it would be like up in Belfast country. If it's similar, would it be? Or it's we're just sharp as a blade, aren't we? But it's but I get it. It's just that like. Because my mum, whenever I went through a really hard time and I needed to go to therapy, my mum, I suppose she didn't know how to help. But she knew, like, oh, well, if this helps you, then you do that. And I'm in your corner and she'd support me. And how are you getting on?
In the background.
But also very much protect yourself, like, da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, she worries.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's a mother's thing. A mother will always worry about the world. They're not worrying about their child, they're worrying about the world. They know, they've seen firsthand how cruel the world can be.
We wouldn't have had therapy. Me and your mummy and that age group wouldn't have had therapy, you know. And if somebody wasn't in therapy, Jesus Christ, you may as well have been in the big house. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Is what
that was how the perception
we're brought up with it.
Yeah.
So it's lovely to hear that your mummy said, you know, if that helps you and that therapy, you know, it's going to be good for you. That's how we support. Yeah. You know, whereas like now, I would never say to one of my weans, if one of my weans come up to me and says, I'm writing a book, I would say, oh, sweet Jesus, that's fantastic, you know. Yes. And but mommy's generation was, oh, Christ, I hope I'm dead before the book comes out, and I hope I'm not in it. Yeah. So it just shows you the difference. The difference is coming through, you know.
And I think it's like, I think in ways, like, I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I think the world's progressed a lot, and it's great that it has. And I do have empathy for older generations, because it was a tougher, like, things were, it was like, that's just the way it is kind of mentality.
100%. And they really worked. And they worked much harder than we do. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says.
They did.
They didn't have all the mod cons that we have. And they didn't complain about things that we complain about. And, you know, that generation, I don't think will ever be again. No. You know, and there's positive points to that, and as you say, your negative points.
Negatives as well, because there was like obviously, like, there was so much more, like, I'd say resilient. I feel like in a way we're a very sensitive, delicate world now, because I think we've lately been through a lot of trauma too, but also we are quite more delicate compared to, like, people are like, oh, that's just, you got on with it, that was the way of life back then.
100%.
But then with that, then there's a lot of stuff that's just like bottled up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
what do you think of that? When you think about I'm interviewing Gerry.
No, go.
When you think about kind of the difference now, like, I shouldn't say we're like wee flowers now, really. Yeah. Very
well, we're delicate.
Yeah. And very little can annoy us. Yes. Do you know what I mean? And I will go out of my way, like, for my weans' mental health and stuff like that, to make sure I'm always talking to them, make sure they're always opening up and stuff like that. Do you think, though, we do need to toughen up a wee bit more?
I do think a mix of both. I do. Yeah. I think, how do I put this? I feel like, I think it's important to be in tune with yourself, do the work, do the therapy, do all them things. But I think sometimes, we kind of got into, like, a world, like, maybe, and it's going to sound a wee bit, maybe, I don't want it to sound insensitive, but like we could all maybe do with a wee bit of a kick up the hole. Yeah. And this, we all could, myself included. Sometimes I'm like, I nearly feel like as if, like, the world owes me something, or I might feel a bit entitled, or like, oh, poor me. And it's like, look, yes, hard, but, like, life's hard. Find somebody that hasn't went through a hard experience. Yeah. Don't harden up, as in, like, bottle up and suppress your emotions and don't talk. Always talk, but, like, change how you look at life.
Yeah.
And you kind of, it's our responsibility to take care of ourselves. It's not other people's.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, you're accepting responsibility for what's going on. And I think the other thing is, we're a culture of why me? Like, why does this happen to me all the time? And like when it comes even for like alcoholics or addiction, why me? Why was it me and not her? And they drank as much as, and so like I had friends like growing up that were drinking every bit as much as me in the teenage years and going on through, and they were having wine every night with their dinners and stuff, but they aren't alcoholic, and I was alcoholic. And when people say why, well, why not you? Do you know what I mean? That's I always say to myself when I go, why the hell has this happened? Now, I never said that about being an alcoholic, because I generally feel that I was born, that was always going to happen, and that's a whole different debate. I think it's hereditary as well. But, when things are going on in your life and you're saying, why does this, it's that negative energy you're putting out. Why the hell not you? Why should it happen to somebody else, not you? What makes you so much better than somebody else?
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
And I always think always have the moment. I think life can get very overwhelming where you'll have that, like, where you feel like the overload, like, why me?
Yeah.
But I think, don't live in that way. Because I think you'll never heal.
You can't.
You have to go through the storm to come out the other side.
And learn something.
And learn. And like the thing is, what I've learned is nothing is ever... You can go through bad experiences, but nothing is ever a waste. Nothing was ever pointless.
No.
Even if it was the most gut-wrenching, traumatic experience, there will be still something...
To learn
or to gain.
Yeah.
Or it will redirect you in a different way. But it's all about changing your mindset and thinking in a more positive way. Would you have always been quite like that, or would you have been more...
Not at all.
Was that whenever you obviously reached sobriety?
Sobriety brought all that on, to be 100% honest with you. Now, I was always confident. I worked in a job that I was out running classes. It was in the weight industry, and I literally had a fantastic job. I would have talked in front of hundreds of women, hundreds of men. I had men-only classes as well, and I loved it. So I was able to go out and
You're
speak.
Weight Watchers, wasn't it?
Weight Watchers, and I was with them 15 years.
Is Weight Watchers still a thing?
No.
Is it not?
They closed down.
Weight Watchers was like iconic, wasn't it?
It was. I loved it. And I was a hairdresser, and I started working for Weight Watchers mid-20s. I'd had 2 of the kids then. Clea wasn't born at that stage, but I loved it and got out all around the country, and I trained girls in Northern. I just loved the whole challenge, and I loved talking, and it came naturally to me. So I had confidence that way. Okay, but I didn't see the world as fantastic.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I, not at all. It was gratitude and sobriety that brought me that. But I'll tell you, Gerry, you have to work at that every single frigging day. I am not a naturally calm person. I don't get up every morning feeling positive and going, oh God, today's going to be a great day. Because today isn't frigging a great day all the time. Yeah. But I had, and many a day I don't work on myself. And you see the days that you don't do the work, I'll tell you, that is when everything will start going wrong. Yeah. But it's only short term. Yeah. You can change it all again. Yeah. And I think you can read all the bloody books that you want, but what you have to do is you have to put that wee tiny, tiny bit of energy into yourself every single morning. It's how you wake up in the morning. So my morning thing is my morning ritual. I'll go down the stairs and I'll put the kettle on, I'll make a cup of coffee, and I'll deliberately go straight back up to bed, and I sit and bring your coffee with you.
And I bring my coffee with me.
Lovely.
And I'll just write down wee notes or wee thoughts, like random thoughts that come into my head. And I'm like, nobody interrupt me until I do this. That's how I have to start my day, my wee morning coffee thoughts.
What does that do for you?
I think it grounds me. I think it makes me... I suppose maybe, say if you had maybe like a restless sleep, or if you woke up the wrong side of the bed or whatever, it's just kind of like that minute of like, the world's nothing's happening in the world around me. All I have right now is just this moment, clear head. Let's just like think, like, what are we thinking about? Yeah. And random thoughts just like kind of fly in. And
they're positive thoughts.
Because you're in a calm state.
You're not going to go back to bed and think negatively.
Flustered and stressed, like, oh my gosh. Like,
I don't know how anybody does that.
No, it's...
I suppose we all did it when we were younger. You see this carry on of jumping out of bed, literally going straight to the shower, going down, lifting your keys, and away you go. I couldn't do that. Would you in your 50s? I swear to Christ, if I got out of bed and went to change my knickers, like say, I would fall over. Yeah. I mean, it takes me ages. Ages.
I'm the same. I'm the same.
To wake up.
It takes me half an hour to wake up.
Right, Gerry. I had to leave this morning.
And my ma comes in barking.
100%. I was leaving. Right, we just booked in for 1:30 today, right? Do you know what time I was up this morning to be sure I was ready to get out to get the bus up?
What?
6 o'clock.
Are you serious?
My alarm went off at 6 o'clock because I need to sit from 6 to 7 before I can actually do anything. Do you know what I mean? And then I'd go to the shower and I wash my hair and I do all that. And I'd rather get up. I can't. But I'm not saying anything to do with getting older, but that is an age thing with me. I can't focus until Plus, you see, I bring myself back to, like, in my depths of despair and where my drinking took me, it was 24 hours, right? And again, people find that hard to believe, but I could not start my day without a glass of wine.
Yeah. Would that have been the first thing you would have?
First thing.
Really? Right,
so
okay.
I'm in the bed. Paddy gets up and goes out to the bed. My bottle was hid, and I always had a bottle and my own wee glass, and my glass was hid onto the valance sheet of the bed, and I would have poured the wee half glass, and I would have sat in the bed and sipped that glass of wine, and then I thought, it's okay now. I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay. I can actually get down the stairs now.
Yeah.
So that is how I started my day. It wasn't always like that, but that's how it ended up. And you cannot do that for too long before you slowly go absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like crazy in your head. Now, waking up knowing, especially that first day without that, I hadn't a clue how I was going to get out of the bed and down the stairs. Who was going to give me that courage?
Yeah.
Because alcohol gave me that courage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was like your wee fix.
Yeah.
Now, for me, some people can do that and go on ahead about their day. I did that and then got the kids sorted out to school, and then I continued on.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd have been sitting at 11 o'clock sorting out clothes, and I gave up that fabulous job that I had. That was all throughout. Slowly going mad with drinking behind the scenes. You know, I wasn't drinking obviously then during the day, but I was drinking too much at night, and then my day was going to, and I gave up that job, and then things got worse because I was at home all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, it just spiraled terribly. But I would be standing in my utility room at 11 o'clock in the morning sorting out clothes at the tumble dryer going, do you know what? I guarantee you half the women in the country are doing this. Because how the hell would they not? Life is bloody hard. Yeah. And I convinced myself that it was totally normal to be having a glass of wine at 6 in the morning and at 11 in the day and so on.
Yeah. And I think that's to be honest, I think a lot of people will likely relate to that, but maybe have never questioned it or
they'll not question it. They'll question it at that time in the morning. But the thing about it is, and this is kind of a point I really need to get across.
Yeah.
Some people are having their wee drink every night. It's not normal to drink every night. First of all, you shouldn't need to drink every night. You shouldn't need wine with your dinner every night. But what starts out at 9 o'clock after the kids go to bed, then goes to 8 o'clock, and then goes to 7 o'clock. Then lockdown come in, and a lot of people, like I'm working with a lot of people, a lot of women that are struggling, and it was only, they literally never drank. They weren't house drinkers until lockdown. Do you know what I mean? And then like at 5 o'clock when you're putting your laptop down, you're finishing, you don't have to go out and drive home, or you don't have to do, you know, lift the kids from the childminders or whatever. So everybody's in the house. Yeah. And you could have your wee glass of wine as you're doing that last email. And that happens to some people. Yeah. So it gets earlier and earlier and earlier. And that's when you need to start questioning it. If you're drinking in the morning like me, 100%.
Yes.
You have an addiction.
Yes.
There's no two ways about it. Like.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It gets earlier and earlier and earlier. And like, as I say, there was times when drinking was great fun for me. It was a great laugh. It was a great social thing, which it is for a lot of people. But I just want people to know that don't you think it couldn't happen to you? The alcoholic isn't lying up that street with a brown paper bag. The alcoholic is the lawyers, it's teachers, it's, you know, the construction workers, it's the beauticians, it's the stay-at-home mummies. Yeah. It's anybody. It can get anybody.
And I think that's the one, and this is why I think you're such a great role model. And I don't think you'll maybe realise how much you sharing your story will have impacted people, because this is what I'm saying with the ignorance with alcoholism and addiction. Addiction is such a, like, I feel like in way I've seen addiction in so many different ways throughout my life, and I myself have had, I would say I've definitely abused my relationship with alcohol. Definitely, like lockdown, I had a lot of really complex mental health problems, and I was bubbling over, and I think a lot of people likely went through that in lockdown in some way. But it's to be like an alcoholic or to be like an addict, it's a different kind. I think people think that it's just like a choice or this. It's a chemical imbalance, in my opinion, in the brain. And I think a lot of people don't really fully understand it.
And I don't think any of us will fully understand it.
No.
Do you know? And like, you see the different people. It's a bit like why me? Like,
yeah,
why would I be alcoholic and my sister not be alcoholic?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You have the same upbringing, you have all of those things as well. But it's only when you go in, and you talked about therapy there, but I mean, literally, AA was my therapy, and I did all my therapy on myself as well. And I really did put the work in, because I did on anything to stay off alcohol, because I knew, and I'll say it, I still say it to this day, if you ever hear that I've lapsed, if you ever see me sitting somewhere having a drink, that would be the last time you see me. I would never survive it again. There's no way that I have given my children all that hope to ever take it away. And that is it. That just pulls me every day to do what I do.
Would you say that's like you're fighting?
I know.
Yeah.
I could not go through it again. No. I just couldn't. I would never survive it. I almost didn't survive, you know, the rock bottom last time. If I hadn't have stopped, I definitely wouldn't have been here. But, you know, as you say, it can happen anybody, but it's a depressant that alcohol brings with you.
I think a lot of people don't,
Like, think of your first drink. I always say to somebody, can you remember when you had your first drink? Like, mine was cider. What was yours?
Oh, mine was a half bottle raw.
Of what, vodka?
Yeah, it's not terrible.
No,
I was 14. We were going. Do you remember Dan Snaish? It was like
Well, I had heard
it was like it was a thing in the Odyssey, and I was 14. My ma hadn't a clue. Yeah. And I drank a half bottle raw, and I was in the A&E in the Odyssey Arena.
And your mummy never heard that.
Never found out.
And that's the first time drinking.
That was my first time drinking. Then the second time drinking I was 16, and I went to an over 18 disco. And I think she likely knew me. A mother always knows their child better than, especially at that age, than they know themselves.
Yeah.
So she likely always knew that if I was given the opportunity, I would fall.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And I went to the over 18 disco, drank and round the side.
And that was normal enough at 16.
And then, honestly, I can remember the feeling that by getting the fake ID, it was my cousin's fucking passport and him ginger, but I got in, like, you know, that's the way it was. Like, the bouncers didn't give a fuck. And I honestly thought, supermarket fucking sweet.
You felt it growing up.
I ordered everything. I had a double Malibu, I had a shot, I had a Smirnoff. Every drink that you could think of, I went hell for leather. Mum was picking me up that night.
What way did it make you feel?
Oh my God, I just couldn't control it at that age. Anyway, I couldn't control it. It was this nearly like a kid in a candy shop.
Yeah.
And then I had no boundaries, no self-awareness, nothing. Just the thing was like, you were nearly trying to drink to reach, like, you have to hit blackout.
You're chasing
That was the extreme binge drinking. Yeah. And that was always something I had a problem with, was binge drinking.
Yeah.
And I remember then I was blackout drunk, and Mum was picking me up then. Where this venue was, there was a wee roundabout in the middle of the car park. Mum's sitting across the road. I'm walking in a straight line, but I'm actually walking in the shape of a right angle. I'm like that there. And I know, but we can laugh though. We can laugh too. Not everything's, you know. Serious things can always be funny, I believe, as well. But then I'm coming staggering, got into the car, she turns around to me and she goes, like, and literally, you know, like a cowboy sitting on a rocking chair. That was her, you know, with a shotgun at the side. She just turns around the head, slowly looking at me and goes, well, did you have a good night? I turn around and goes, yeah, it was good, wasn't it? She turns around and goes, oh, Jared, son, I wasn't there. And at that point, I thought, fuck, she knows I'm drunk.
As if she would not know.
And then in fairness, she pulled a blinder. She managed, I don't know how she done it, but she managed to get my phone. I must have like set my phone in the car or something, but hid my phone.
Yeah.
And then the next day I was like, where's your phone? I was like, oh, I've lost my phone. She's like, well, I might know where your phone is if you tell me the truth.
Yeah.
And all she wanted was for me to tell the truth. And I goes, yeah, no, I drank. Yeah. And then, in fairness to her, she didn't shout. She tried to enlighten me and educate me on it.
Yeah,
and she's very much like educated on it. So she tried to educate and pass on her knowledge to me of like look, you need to be like, there's a lot of darkness to alcohol. It's always something I think since then I've always been very conscious of.
Yeah, that was good advice at that age.
Great advice. And I think this is the thing we don't realise. It doesn't take being to rock bottom, or doesn't take having the, like, you know. I do believe addiction is hereditary, or you're born with it. 100%. I don't believe that it's something that happens through an experience in life. I think it's just the way that the brains, but I wouldn't know because obviously I'm not addicted, but my understanding of it, and I have a great understanding of it, is I think there's just a wee wire that's just different, that you will react to something different, or it's having a relationship with something without boundaries. Yeah. It could be,
People think that if you are addicted, you had to have some terrible childhood trauma. That's what we'll always go back to.
Yeah.
But what my childhood trauma could be, it could be dropping a sweet compared to somebody else's.
Yes.
It's we act differently. I mean, I was, again, going back to my own therapy that I kind of did myself, I was always different. And what I know now, I seen wee traits of myself 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At that age, wee things that I see now that I thought, you were always going to be alcoholic. You were always different. You were always a wee loner. You're like, I'll tell you what, a drink does for an alcoholic. And then maybe some people can ask themselves a few questions. It lit my world up. That first sip. I did not drink because I loved the taste of it. I'll go anywhere for a good cup of coffee because I love a good coffee. I'll go anywhere for a nice steak because I love a good steak. But I drank for the effect. It was never for the taste.
That was the same as me.
It's the same
Never
for
liked the taste.
most people, if they're being honest, are out there drinking. It's that effect. It lit I still remember it light my world up, that first sip of cider down the Waterfit Road for me into Ballymore going disco.
Yes.
No age down there. And I don't know who bought the cider, but some of the girls got it. And we were in about maybe fourth year at school. I probably was about 14 and around that too, And like cider was my drink. And I can still remember, feel being sick on cider. And that was one drink when I got a bit of sense I couldn't drink. Like even as an alcoholic and loving my drink like up into my 40s, I couldn't have drank cider.
Yeah.
I would have bulked cider because that was such a bad memory for me. So what alcoholics are doing is drink stops working. So you keep chasing it. It's like that first drink, really and truly, it's the first few sips of the first one that you get the most good out of. Like after the fourth glass of wine, you don't know if you're drinking
that is true, yeah. Like
rubbish wine or really good Malbec or whatever it is. So that's what I'm trying to say. We are trying all the time. It stops working. We have to drink more and more and more and more. We're chasing that high all the time, but the high is never going to come again.
Yeah.
When you get to a level, like no matter when you're out after 3 drinks.
Yes.
Right. Now after 10 drinks. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to really know what you're drinking. It doesn't really matter. And your night will always be better and always be more interesting in that first couple of hours that you have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you just get drunker. It's just the high that you're getting.
And I think that comes, with age and with wisdom and likely with life experiences as well. You do realise nothing good ever does happen the later a night progresses. Yeah. But also that first drink, if you're wanting to go out, like we're not, like this episode isn't us, like we're not like sitting saying like, oh, don't drink or this or that or whatever. I still very much drink, but I am very, very cautious.
And the first thing I do when you come into my house is I say, would you like a glass of wine? Yeah. I can have alcohol. And at the beginning I couldn't.
No, of course.
But there's still something, and Patty always says to me, that's the thing in you. I still can't understand, like if I had a glass here and it had wine in it, I'm looking sometimes at my friends and they'll sit down and they say, oh, no, I don't want any more. And I'm going, what? How can you leave half a glass of wine sitting? Yeah. I'd have been running around the clubs drinking everybody else's half glasses. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember that?
Mine sweeping. Did you do that too? I don't think you had to be an alcoholic to do. I think everybody did that.
But I still can't understand anybody leaving half a pint.
But I was a miserable cunt.
That was a money thing for us then. Do you know what I mean? But I still can't. And I mean, if you were in my house now and we were having like a dinner party, whatever, and I saw your glass come down, I would die. I would think I would die if. Yeah. It's because going back then, I'd have died if there wasn't something in my glass.
In your glass, yes.
Now, 10 years later, I still can't. If somebody isn't an alcoholic, I will be making sure you're looked after properly because I'd die if you didn't have a drink in your glass. Yeah. Because I'd have died. Yes. So that's probably a bad thing in me, but I can't get over that.
No, but I don't like this is the thing. I think sometimes we think that we have to be this perfect person, and we might have certain wee things or isms or whatever that might be linked to something that's maybe like a negative thing about us or a characteristic or a problem or a trauma. And I think sometimes we think we have to be like picture perfect, and it's like, not all the time. Like that might be something that maybe still connects you to that memory of.
And I can't.
But
it'll never go away.
But you're not drinking.
No, I'm not drinking.
You're not drinking.
Not at all.
I don't think that's. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean? And like people will.
And I think we have to
it's silly.
Yeah.
They'll say, Jesus, of course I can leave half a glass of wine sitting. Yeah. That's silly. You think, but I can't understand that. Yeah. I can't understand that anybody doesn't finish a glass and then doesn't finish a bottle, and that's just. It's not in my understanding. Yeah.
But I think we're always trying to make sense of things, and sometimes things just don't need to make sense. Do you know that? Like, as in, that's a reaction from an experience of your life, and I like it's not a bad experience. You know, I don't think so. I think that's sometimes this is the part that kills me the most, especially with anybody that's struggling in any way. But I suppose with like addiction, it's that like not showing yourself that kindness and that grace, and especially like for family members and stuff, like the shame and like the darkness with it. It's so sad because there is help out there. Like you can turn it. Like you can turn it around. Like look at you. Like
100%.
Like that's 10 years sober.
But to go from the level, that's what people say, you know, when we're very much, we compare ourselves all the time. Mm-hmm. And when I say to people, like I was drinking and I was topping up, it's what you call topping up. And that's just what I was doing. Mm-hmm. My body could not cope without topping up, sipping alcohol, wine. My drink was, you know, I wasn't sipping vodka all day and it didn't matter. That doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But there's all different types of addiction and there's different levels of addiction. Yeah. So, you know, you could be an alcoholic and you could stay off at 6 weeks and then go on a binge. You're still alcoholic. Yeah. You're not drinking normally. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you can't control and you can't stop at that binge. Whereas I couldn't have went an hour, let alone a day at the very end. So that's what I'm trying to say. You never compare yourself because I am no better or no worse than anybody else, no matter what level of drinking you're at. And people would hear my story and say, well, I'm not alcoholic. I'm not like her. Yeah. But you know what I mean? If you're not drinking normally. Yeah. And the other thing about sharing your secret with somebody else is because you know, Gerry, when you share it, you say it out loud and you have to do something about it. And it's terrifying. The thought of stopping, it's terrifying. Yeah. And they're going to watch you like a hawk. Yeah. So once you say to somebody, I'm broken here, I can't have a problem. They are going to make you stop. They're going to help you stop. They're going to not give you a bloody minute's peace till you stop. Yeah. So that's why most people won't say it because they don't want to stop. They're in complete and utter denial. Yeah, because it's that part. It's like the lights are on. Everybody else will say it.
The lights are on. It's
and do you know what I always say too, Gerry? Like, people are going, you know, I'd die if somebody saw me at the same meeting and I would die if anybody knew. You didn't bloody die when you're queuing outside the off-licence at 11 o'clock waiting for it to open because that's what we did.
I know.
To get the bottle. That's what we did if it ran out.
I know.
Nobody gave a damn about that. Yeah. But it's all pride. Pride is...
Do you think pride's the ruination of us as a human being?
Pride is the ruination of so many. You don't want anybody to know you're in debt. You don't want anybody to know that somebody has been bad to you in a relationship. You don't want anybody to know that you're drinking too much. You don't want anybody to know that person was a real bastard to you. Whatever it is, it's always about pride because we have to show up as if we are something that's not normal. Yeah. And that's not, you know, I think if we could be who we are and just be ourselves, which we do, like most of the time, but we can't come on. Like there's plenty of time I want to come on the social media and say, do you know what that bloody bitch said to me there now? Yeah. But I couldn't do it. And I can't do it because you can't do that. And and mental health is massive now as well. But the emotional hangover is bloody massive. Mm-hmm. So the emotional hangover is what I worry about with young people. Yeah. You cannot cope that next day. Whenever you're feeling so down and so down and so down, that goes into Monday and so Tuesday, it's such a goddamn depressant. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you'll never be able to be yourself or say your own things if you're going through that emotional hangover. Yeah. Drink will always make you feel worse the next day. Yeah, because this was actually our first episode of this.
I
know, skipped on a wee
No. Like, that's the way they always go in podcasts. But the thing in our first episode of this month, like this is we're just trying to cover a lot of ground. So like, you know, we've talked about like lifestyle and fitness with Maeve, and then
I can't wait to hear
obviously that. It's a fantastic one. But this I feel like this is something that I think everybody will relate to this in some way. It's not necessary. Some people might relate. They might see signs of certain things or be a bit more aware and a bit more educated, and they might see something maybe whether it's a family member or see it in themselves. But also I think it is very important, like us as a generation, you have to sometimes look at the relationship that you have with loads of different things in life and ask yourself if it's a healthy one or not, or if there's, and that's why for me personally, like I never got to the stage of like where it became like a problem. It was, I think I had so much kind of like, I suppose, self-loathing, trauma, really bad mental health, and literally there was a point where like I would have been completely fine with drinking. When I was younger, it was overconsumption and binge drinking, and that's whenever the habit became. But when you were younger, it was nearly normal and trendy to get pissed.
You weren't processing it the next day.
You're watching shows like Geordie Shore, and it was all about getting pissed, and nobody gave a like. It was nearly like glamorized. It was glamorized, and I think then whenever I was kind of going through that, whenever my mental health dipped, I'd say like me swallowing a drink was like me swallowing a feeling down.
Yeah.
And I then quickly seen that. And then I have experienced like alcoholism in different ways through life, through like our community and different people that I know and, you know, different friends or this or like, you know, everybody, as we say, everybody has been affected by it in some way.
Yeah.
So it's always something I've always been very aware of. And I was like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is the problem. There's a problem there.
Underneath that, yes.
Do you know what I mean?
I get that. What about the confidence thing? You know, like I always went back to how it lit my world up. I drank for a long time for confidence.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think a lot of people do, yeah.
I'd give you that bit of confidence. Like, I mean, I think I was going out with Paddy 3 months before he saw me without a drink.
Without a drink,
do you know what I mean? That he'd ever come up to the house and lift at me that I hadn't. Well, you didn't pre-drink in our days. Like that wasn't the done thing in the houses and wouldn't have been allowed to pre-drink. But you know, a lot of it's confidence. You just needed that one before you walked into the bar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To meet somebody. But that is all normal.
Yeah.
But when you take it to a level that you need that drink to bring out something in you that's possibly not really there. Because you have to ask yourself, what way do I act when I'm drinking?
Yeah.
And let's face it, you see drunk people are assholes.
They are.
Okay, sorry.
Yep. No, I agree. I don't like me drunk. I don't like anybody. I don't. And especially, like, I do a lot of events. Well, I do a lot of I'm sober. And I don't like drunk people.
I see that.
I don't like drunk
sober.
people.
Drunk people are a pain in the ass. If you could only hear yourself, I would love to tip you. And that's me. That is me saying that, and people are saying, "Look at your woman talking. She was drunk many times." And yes, it was, but that's why I don't drink anymore. But you know what I mean. Drunk people are really, really hard, and I think it brings out people. They're nasty to each other, and it causes them rows, and they're cheeky, and they're assholes, and start talking about how much money they have, and I love this. It is so unflattering.
Yeah.
So, you know, if even that could help people realise to stop at the 2 or the 3 or the 4 when you're enjoying it, because you need somebody to tell you, honestly, what are you like when you're drunk?
Yeah. But then that's why everybody wakes up all the same and they're all like, oh gosh, like, you know.
And everybody protects everybody the next day.
Everybody has anxiety.
Did I say anything last night? What did I do? What did I say? Oh, you're fine, whatever. You weren't fine. You're a bloody pain in the ass. And you started a row with somebody. And, you know, that, I would never hide that. I would tell that.
No,
And it terrifies me. You'll never find me in a pub.
No.
You'll never find me in a club. Very, very rarely. It's nothing to do with alcohol. I mean, I worked in a wedding venue that I served champagne all day long and stuff like that. Alcohol doesn't bother me. You can get it in the bloody shop, for God's sake, in the petrol station. It's that level of people being drunk out in a town at that time of night is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And it's not attractive.
No.
And it's not attractive in any young woman anymore, on any young man anymore, on any mother, on any older person. Why do you get drunk? Like, there has to be a reason. Why do you get drunk?
Yeah. And the thing is, you see, if for anybody that didn't say doesn't necessarily have a problem with it, but it's just kind of something that just seems to kind of happen, or it's maybe like just a part of their lifestyle, it is important to kind of take a look at it and go like, is that actually enjoyable? Like, is it enjoyable waking up the next day, feeling anxious, feeling in the horrors, feeling bad about yourself? Alcohol, like is a depressant, mechanically, it is a depressant. Like, to your brain, it is a depressant. It will make you high for like a quick high, and then you're trying to go higher.
It's the worst depressant.
It's a placebo effect. You never get higher. You get more jaded. Everything gets more cloudy. Your perspective in things, you get maybe more like, it's kind of like Russian roulette, I think, that a lot of people are very reactive. They could go one way or the other. And then the next day, it's just depression, and you really, like, the lows are really low. It's a horrible cycle. And when you kind of, when you even just implement small boundaries to your drinking patterns, the clarity it gives you. And that's, for me, in the past, I'd say 2 to 3 years, I've cut down massively, where I'd say, like, have 1 or 2. Don't get me wrong, I'll still maybe, if I was going to rave, have a blowout.
Of course, yeah, and that's normal.
But the thing is, I'll wake up the next day 100%, because I'm like, that's not, like, in my... Yeah,
you felt maybe
it's not my DNA.
Control.
I was in more control.
Yeah, because you made that decision, you know, you won't drink for another week. Or, I get that too.
But also, I was like, I want to go and have fun and enjoy music and dance and have a laugh and be messy and be silly with my friends. And it always worked.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I think when you're in that, like, living for the weekend,
you know, that's lovely.
That's lovely. Yeah.
And I love to see young people enjoying themselves, and I love it whenever they are dancing around. But it's whenever they start hovering over you and
I know,
you know, and it's just not attractive. And you know whether you're doing that or not. Only you can answer that question.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's normal for everybody to go out and have a blowout, but it's not normal that every night you're out, if you end up drunk, that is not normal either.
No.
You should be able to go and have your few glasses of wine with a nice dinner and come home, get up the next morning, go out for your walk and say, do you know what? That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
There's the happy medium. That, you know, like there's so many people that have been taking antidepressants. I was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I never left the doctor's, Gerry.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what the hell was wrong with me. And I went to the doctors all the time. Jesus Christ, the priest. I mean, I never left the priest's house.
I know, it's such a thing in our community, isn't it? Get
monks,
the priest.
The monks, Father Martin, me and Father Martin. I'd always go down and say, I'm going to Father Martin. And maybe Father Martin will fix me. Anybody that I thought could fix me. Yeah. And that was years before I stopped. That was years before I knew I had a problem. Mm-hmm. But I was going to them people because I was so depressed.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to them people because I was drinking too much. I didn't know what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
So they were giving me antidepressants and they were blessing me and doing all the things, and I was going away and still drinking every night. So I was never really going to get any better. But your medication will not work if you're drinking alongside of it.
Yeah, because they go,
Oh my God, you see how my life changed within a week from stopping drinking and being in the same tablet that I was always on, had been on for a long time, working, kicking in. Then that first month, I was a different person.
And do you feel like what would you say, what's one of the main things that you feel that you got from going sober?
The first thing was, I swear, a night's sleep.
Right.
I put my head to a pillow, and because I knew I hadn't drank that day, the contentment, I can't explain to you how it felt. Now, I was terrified because I had to learn how to do everything again. I couldn't have answered. I never answered the phone without a drink. You know, if you're topping up all day, everything you did, everybody you talked to, everybody you associated with, there was alcohol in it. They mightn't have known it, but I knew it. So I had to learn how to do everything. And I used to be talking to people on the phone, petrified. My hand been shaking, thinking, oh my God, you know, I haven't got my crutch anymore. I haven't got that. But a night's sleep was the first thing, that contentment. Then my eyes started to get brighter and my skin started to get just clear.
Yeah.
I went and got a haircut. I swear to God. You see, from one AA meeting one Friday night to the next Friday night, now I went to 3 a week, but I went to the same meeting a week later, I was like a different person. I had my eyes were brighter. I was smiling. I was more relaxed, and I'd cut my hair oh my God. I mean, I'd let myself go dreadfully.
Yeah.
I was quite thin, you know, put on 3 stone too with drinking again, but I mean, it was the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
So that didn't matter. None of that mattered. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was happy and I was content. You can't buy this, but if you can go to bed at night and you can put your head in the pillow and you can say to yourself, do you know what? I'm content. That is the only feeling you ever need, as I say, to keep the demons away.
Yeah.
A night's sleep and getting up the next morning. Honestly, you can't buy that.
You can't.
You can go to bed and you can have the BMW sitting outside and you can have the big thingy and you can begin on your head thinking, how much money did I make today? But your head's racing like a friggin' washing machine. Yeah. And you're not content because we want more and more and more all the time.
I know.
And I think that is the secret, is contentment.
And do you think it takes getting, like, and it's not that it gets at you think
you can have contentment without sobriety. Sobriety learned me that.
Yeah, and it's nearly when you hit rock bottom. Do you think
when you've nothing and you're facing, and as we do talk about it, the only place for you is a rope, and that's how I ended up. And that's it. Now, literally, like, you know, and I don't say that lightly. I don't stand on here and say I was suicidal lightly. I was suicidal, and I knew it was going to happen, and that's why I made the phone call to my husband, and that's how the whole thing came out. My parents rang, and that was my last week of rock bottom. It was a Tuesday, and I drank on to Thursday night to the Friday morning. I got up on the Friday morning and said, right, you have a decision today. You drink and die. You do the thing you're going to do, or, because nobody's going to save you this time, or you decide to try not drink. And I had the wee man that my daddy gave me the number off and everything else. I had a text and ring that wee man every 15 minutes. 15 minutes. I had 15 minutes without a drink. I've had an hour. I didn't. You don't understand how.
I'm getting a wee.
Oh, Gerry.
No, I just think a lot of people. Sorry,
Gerry. Sorry, I didn't mean.
No, you don't.
You see, I'm used to telling it.
No, and I really, really appreciate it. I just think a lot of people will. A lot of people relate, but it's that, like, I think. Oh. No, sorry.
I love you.
I love you too. It's that rock bottom. It's a scary. I've been there. Like, it's a scary place. Like, you think there's no, like, I think your entire world's caving in. You know, like,
but you've been there for different reasons.
Different.
And many other people have been there, Gerry, but they weren't saved.
I know.
This is what breaks my heart.
Yeah.
They're not saved, no, and especially if it's through alcohol. When I hear that somebody died and they were drinking while it had happened, I always say, oh my God, did they really mean to do that? I know that sounds hard because I know I didn't.
I know that
but if I hadn't, I knew it was going to work.
Yeah.
So I thought, if I don't ring Paddy now, my children are not going to have a mother. Yeah. That is just how bad the situation was. And it didn't matter who was shocked or what was shocked or anything else. And obviously the children didn't know that then.
Yeah.
It takes lives, and it's not just alcohol. Mental health takes lives.
Yeah.
And if you don't, that is how.
Yeah.
So I've been there, you've been there, and every 15 minutes you're thinking, I believe that the world would be such a nicer place without me in it. Yeah. I believe my children would be so much better if I wasn't in it. Mm-hmm. Now, how insane is that, Gerry?
I know. And I think that's so with me getting sad here, I don't get sad, and I get sad because I know all like that. When you hit that rock bottom, and then when you do all that work up, and once you get upset there, when you can actually get your head above water, and then you can see the sky and it's clear again, and you've got this clarity, and you start to build this amazing relationship with yourself, and you see them people, and you hear of them people that weren't able to get to their head above that water.
You remember that feeling.
I know how low that was,
and
that's
the
part
feeling.
where it kills, you know. But it shows, like, whenever you get there, you're like, thank God I was able to get there.
There's your gratitude, Gerry.
Yeah.
I'm hearing your gratitude.
Yeah.
And any time I think as well that you get that you feel down, because I do, you do with bad days, and there's days I mean, honestly, Gerry, there's still days, everybody thinks, and I probably do with you as well, that you're such an upbeat, positive person, and, you know, you're out there, you're on the radio, you're on the, you know, TV, you're kind of everywhere, you have it all. Do you know what I mean, Gerry? Well, he is everywhere, let's face it. He is frigging everywhere.
I'll be in the crib at Christmas.
And we love him because he is everywhere. But, you know, when you think, there's days all I want to do is put the covers over my head and stay in bed. But I know I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can never do that again, because I spent a lot of days in my bed with the two wee dogs lying up in the bed beside me, and they were I thought my only friends, because they're the only people I knew I was drinking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I said, see, and I'm talking away to them dogs.
No, I get it.
Them dogs seen the real me. You know, we still have them two wee dogs. They're so old now, and I think what they did for me, you know, oh my God, it's unreal. But yes, mental health is just what you're talking about. It is a fine line. And it can go like that from either you've been in this world and you're not like that. And that is the sadness of everything. There's always, I always say, everything can be fixed. It doesn't matter what you do in this world. Everything can be fixed except that.
Yeah.
When you do that, there's no come back.
Yeah.
And you have left a destruction. But you're gone, so you can't fix it. But there's nothing in this world that can't be fixed.
No, and I think that's the one thing I think, and this is like, life is fucking hard.
Oh,
like,
so hard.
And everybody will. I think, I don't know. Sometimes you're like, what? Like, what the fuck? God, Ganesh, like, what the fuck? Sometimes I'm like, I feel like Ganesh bit like, they're all fucking around the table being like, throw me another fucking curveball, and I'm like, here we fucking go, hit me. But it's sometimes you're just like, what is, like, it's hard. But everybody will have been through that, felt it, know somebody that felt it. But the thing is, I really want to drill here, is like, it does get better. You can turn it
100%.
around. You can. But you have to believe in yourself.
Be it that you're drunk sitting listening to this, be it that it's a drink thing, be it that it's because you're so unhappy. Like, there's people Gerry, that's been abused. There's people that, you know, they have no chance in life in their childhood. And, you know, as you say, there's the whole sexuality things with some people as well. There's so much going on. There's people that lost their homes and their jobs. And I couldn't give a damn. As long as I never take a drink again, you can take everything from me. I will live in a tent. I was going to say in my back garden, but if you took my house, I wouldn't have my back garden. But in the field, do you know what I mean? I live in a tent in my field. If I still have my paddy and the three weans, they probably wouldn't want me then. I was living in a tent. But do you know what I mean? As long as I never take a drink again. I take everything from me you want, but you will not take this contentment, because I have that. No. And I have that living in a tent, or I have it living in the house I'm living in now. It doesn't matter. People are so wrong on what makes them happy. Yeah. They are so, I swear, and it's an age thing with me, but young people want too much. We want too much. We want too much all the time. It's not enough that you get there, you want there. Yeah. Do you know? Like, when is enough ever bloody enough? I know, and I think that's because we do live in like a digital world where I think we're able to see so much in other people's lives and what other people are doing. Pardon me. I did it. Yeah. Sweet Jesus, I used to run about with these girls that, along with my weans, were wee tots, going to primary school. And one of them in particular, oh my God, her house was fabulous. She kept it really, really clean and everything else. And she baked her own bread. Well, nothing would do when they would come round. I would have to bake my own bread. I never baked in my life. Do you know what I mean? But I did that because I thought, I'm the perfect mommy. I'm going to do that as well. And the other thing I want to say here very quickly is, do you know what? People are wild guilty about having naps. And I know you have the sneaky naps. Yeah, I love my sneaky nap. I know he does. I love my sneaky nap. And there's a telltale sign. I remember going up whenever I used to go up and do the school run and lift the weans. This is honest to God. I wasn't drinking then. It was way back in the days. Clean, I wasn't even born. I was lifting. Shay was a baby and he would have been sleeping or whatever. And I always had my wee nap, a lovely wee 2-hour nap before I went up and get Emma in school. And somebody said to me one day at the gate of the school, "Were you sleeping, Geraldine?" Here's me. Sweet Jesus, where do you think I had a voice and all, where do you think I'd find the time out to sleep? I bake my own bread. I have a house shining. I have everything. The big track, the cushion was all down the side of my face like this here, So at the end of the day, you are what you are and don't be frightened of it.
No.
And everybody, take your nap when you bloody want to and don't let anybody say you're lazy for doing it.
Oh, I do. I love a good nap. And I think that's it. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves unnecessarily.
You said the word there. We do it on ourselves.
We do it on ourselves. We're our own worst enemy.
Nobody else does it to us.
And that's the thing. Show up for yourself. Like, look, be who you are and don't be unapologetic. Don't be ashamed of anything. If you're struggling, if you're going through anything right now, there is no shame in that. Like, there isn't, because the thing is, we think nobody else is we feel so alien in it, but like everybody's going through something. You just don't know the half of it because we've unfortunately created this environment where we like to keep up with the Joneses and keep appearances and pretend and show the good side, but maybe we don't want to show the bad side. But everybody's going through something.
It's that few minutes of the social media. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I still do it too, and I look at somebody and say, oh my God, that's a lovely life they have. But you don't... Yes, and I love to see other people having lovely lives. Do you know what I mean? But what I want to stress here is it is not normal to be happy and in a good mood all the time. It's you can't live. That's not life.
No.
And it's not normal life. And, do that wee tiny bit of work every single morning before you crash into your day. I always talk about the outside world. So before I can let the outside world into me and get to me, okay, I have to. I mean, as soon as I wake up, I literally, my Serenity prayer is my saviour. So obviously I'm saying my Serenity prayer as well. But I just, say to God, you know what, God, I'm going to be all right. Just keep me safe. That's it. From my own thoughts. I'm not saying safe from a car accident. It's my own thoughts. Intrusive thoughts were always going to hurt me. It was never anybody else. It was always, we are so horrible to ourselves all the time.
I know.
Aren't we?
Yeah.
You could never, I could never talk to you the way I would talk to myself. But there's days I'm going to do that, Gerry. And I have to say, do you know what? You can't do that. Stop. And I'm forever. I could tell myself to stop 10 times a day. But if you don't do that wee tiny bit of work, your day's never going to be even normal, let alone good.
Yeah.
So you can't just read the book and do the course.
No.
And say that's it.
And that's it. Finish line. Yeah.
Because things aren't going to be going well for you all the time.
No. But then I also do think that it's all about how you look at it. I think, like this episode.
I don't know where this episode. I don't know where this episode's went, everybody. I swear to God, as usual, I wear my heart in my sleeve.
I love it though. But
talking far too much.
But I mean, the high and the low, like that is kind of life. Like, as in,
exactly.
We can sit and laugh about certain things, but open up about other things, and I think that is the beauty in life. If it was just so one note, it wouldn't be exciting. I don't think. And even and like I look back and I've been through like a lot of hardships in different ways, but when I weigh it all up, I'm like, there's things I think everybody were like, if they could do something differently, would they do it?
Yeah.
Of course they would. Do people maybe regret certain mistakes? Of course they do. But like overall, for the person that I am right now, I wouldn't change a thing right now.
And that's lovely to hear that.
Taking on
somebody,
the highs and the lows.
Young like yourself.
Yeah.
Because as you say, like you and I were chatting earlier on, you were saying there's a lesson in everything.
Yeah.
There's something to be learned. And you never really, you shouldn't have regrets because, I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about them.
You can't turn back time.
Yeah. But the one thing as well I do want to say, everybody, is whenever you have a problem or a worry, that is probably my one regret. I wish I hadn't have worried so much about wanting more.
Okay.
When I was younger.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Wanting more, because I did want this perfect life for these 3 kids, and that's madness. It is all a child wants is love and to feel safe and to be given a drink and a piece of toast. They don't give a shit. if their bed is,
no,
we want that.
Yeah.
But I watch people out there and going, I'm doing it for the children, I'm doing it for the children, I'm going to do it. And you think to yourself, what? No, this is where it's going wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe the child's not there or whatever. But what I want to say is, when you have a problem, and I always say I run the wee group with the Monday Club, which is lovely, and it's a group of hundreds.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
too,
hundreds of women, and we're in this wee exclusive group, and we meet up and we do wee meditations, we do all those things, and the only thing we do is keep ourselves sane every single day with wee groups, like personal. I'd be on it much more than I'm ever on my ordinary social media. But what I will say is, if you have a problem, you ask yourself one question: is this in my control? And if it's in your control and you can do something about it, bloody do something about it. Stop yapping.
Yeah.
Do something about it. But most of it isn't.
Yeah.
What you will be worrying about normally is about somebody else. So as a mother, if you're a woman listening to this, you will be most likely worried about your child. Your child's maybe not, hating their job, but you're worried about their mental health, or maybe they're drinking too much, or maybe they're in a bad relationship, or, maybe they haven't talked by the time they're 3. You're kind of worrying. A lot of that's out of your control because you can't change that.
Yeah.
Illness you can't change. When somebody diagnoses you with something, Gerry, you can't change that. You can change how you react to it, but you can't change the actual, diagnosis. But if you're sitting today and you know that you're worrying yourself sick because you've debt, say. Just take an example. Say you debt, and I think it's another massive thing towards suicide.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
So if you have a debt or whatever, you can do something about that. You have no idea how better you feel if you lifted the phone and made a wee phone call and just say, I'm struggling, I can't pay that. Do you know, can you give me interest free for 6 months or a year, whatever? It's ask yourself, can I do anything about it? If your husband's abusing you or in your bad relationship, can I do something about it? Yes, you bloody can. Yeah. You can do something about that.
I know.
You can get out of that relationship slowly, or you can be smart and tuck a wee bit of money away and, do a wee nest, get yourself, but make a plan.
Yeah.
But an awful lot of what you're worrying about is out of your control. And the one thing I learned from sobriety, again, it's another priceless thing I wish I could bottle up and sell, is literally hand it over. Okay, so again, I'm going to sound all airy. I have a higher power, right? And my higher power would be God. I'm not overly religious. I'm not running to the chapel all the time, things like that. But I have a higher power, and I had to get that higher power to stop drinking. I mean, to me, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
no, I tap into it too. Yeah.
I couldn't do that all one day and the next day not be drinking and never drink again. But anyway, I have my higher power, and I always know when something's going on, and I'm tittering about that forest, or I'm standing in the kitchen, and I go, I can't cope with this today. I just can't. And I really am. And I'm going back down there again, and I just say, you know what? You'll have to take it over. Whatever your higher power is, God or whatever you want to call it, take it over for me because I just can't deal with it. And as soon as I do that, Gerry, this sense of calmness comes away, and I know I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be that it's going to work out the way I wanted it to, but I know that I'm safe and I'm going to be okay. I've handed it over. So if you can hand a problem over that you can't control, it could be to that bloody camera.
Yeah.
I work with people and I say to them, right, okay, you don't believe in God, you don't have to. It's just like that. Have you a tree in your garden? They would say, I do. I say, pick a nice tree. Get yourself out to that tree when you're worrying about something and tell the tree to take it away from you.
It's the thing that keeps, it's like a grounding thing, isn't it?
It can be anything,
It's nearly like that, yeah.
Anything at all. Yeah. But it's just something. And I always say, people that are struggling with grief and stuff like that, and they're drinking a lot more because somebody died, because again, that's a massive trigger. I would say to them, I always say, well, think about it. Would they want you? You're not really honouring their memory by living your life like that to begin with.
Yeah.
But I always say to them, you see that problem you have, hand it over to them. That's your higher power.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that passed away.
It's looking down.
That is your higher power. It's like your angel or your guardian angel, whatever it may be. We believed in angels when we were wee, and then we lose our innocence and the big bad world gets into us, and then everything is just kind of dark and black. So get a bit of faith out again, get a bit of magic out again, believe in your guardian angel again, and hand things over. From somebody in their mid-50s, I wish I hadn't have worried as much about things I couldn't control.
Lovely.
I love that.
There you go.
And our podcast is a higher power.
Does it?
Be perfect.
Geraldine. Yeah. Oh, we're going to have to pause this. It's now the time for the ad break.
Be perfect.
Yes, we'll get chatting about that. Right, we're going to move into the ad break. We're going to keep chatting with Mama G. You're so wise.
Well,
I think you're a wee guardian angel.
It comes with a lot of, again, a lot of rock bottom.
Yeah, no,
and rising up again. It really does.
I know. But we'll move into the ad break here now, and we're going to still keep chatting with Geraldine here So stay tuned, and yes, let's hand it over to Be Perfect. Okay, so this episode is sponsored by Be Perfect Cosmetics. Mama G, you love the Be Perfect?
I adore Be Perfect.
It.
I
yes.
do. I mean, everything I use is Be Perfect, but I mean, I've worked with them now as well.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
What would you say is your favourite product?
Probably because I spent a long time trying to find a foundation. So I love the Chroma Cover Foundation and the Luminous.
Same as me.
Yeah.
So today's products, we are discussing the Ekansu collection. Have you tried this collection?
I have, of course.
You have?
Yes.
Ekansu Radiant Glow.
Love it.
Love it. It's viral. Like, it always sells out.
I actually wear it underneath my foundation quite a bit.
So yeah, you can either wear it, I think, as you can wear it as like I would sometimes wear it just on its own.
On its own, especially if you're on holiday.
Yeah, if you're on holiday,
Gorgeous.
if you've got that nice tan underneath, it's a nice wee glow. But it is such a gorgeous like primer, illuminator. It just makes your foundation just so much more like glowy and hydrated. It's absolutely beautiful.
And it lasts for ages. Like the topic value for money. It really lasts ages.
So as you can see here, we've got our wee QVC display. We have got the Ekansu Mini Empress brush. Like, it's not so. That's like
love it. Yeah. Have one of those.
And then we have got the lashes. So these are a gorgeous set of half lashes. And then we have got, this is a new one here. This is the Ekansu Radiant Blush. This is in the shade Turkish Delight. Yeah. So as you can see, we've got the full collection here in front of us. You can get that online. And then we've got the 1 Dew Free setting spray. I always love it.
Geez. I have it on twice today.
Do you want a wee spritz?
Yes, please.
Right, okay.
Give it a good shake now.
Give it a good shake. So watch this if you can see. Look at that. Shimmery.
The
shimmer. I'm the same. Right, you ready, G? Okay, give it a shake. Oh, lovely. I'm going to go for one too.
Does that bring you back to life again now?
Oh, do you not feel...
After an hour and a half
of sitting under these hot lights.
I'm glowing again, everybody.
Revitalised.
I do love that, I have to say.
It is lovely. And it smells amazing as well, doesn't it? If out of all of this, if I was to recommend anything, I would say the Radiant Glow. I would recommend the 1 Dew Free setting spray. I use it all the time. And then I do love this palette. I've actually ran out of it.
Gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. But look, guys, Pop My Cherry is the discount code. You can use it at beperfectcosmetics.com. And you can save yourself loads of money with the discount. You can get any of these products here. You can get Katie Daly. You can get any of the collections. Anne Olivia, Chroma Cover, matte or luminous, full impact concealer. Like, look, I feel like sometimes I feel like a sales rep sometimes would be perfect. I know it all. Oh, Jesus, QVC, Mama G.
That's because you're using it, you know.
I know. No, I do love it. I genuinely do love it. Because you know, sometimes you see people online, you're like, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Aye.
And you know, like, it's not going to be.
You can tell. I think.
And I like the way they're so reasonably priced.
Yes, it's affordable.
You know, it's affordable. Like, it's for foundations and things like that, can be wild dear.
Yeah, no.
You know, £15-60 a bottle, so it's lovely, and they last a while, so I love it. And I love it as well because, you know, especially my age, a lot of women are frightened of makeup and things.
Yes.
And they're frightened to try Be Perfect. I would have been frightened to try Be Perfect.
Yes, because it is very much.
It was for the younger person.
Yes, but it's not though.
But it's only because I found the foundation. I was talking about it anyway on the thing, obviously, long before I started to sell or be a brand ambassador. And I love it because that's probably one of the things I do that people interact with the most, apart from the addiction thing and the alcohol thing, is women loving to see, you know, a wee bit older, that they can liven their face up a wee bit and use gorgeous products like that are affordable. Yeah,
and this is the thing, they are affordable and it's all about using it. Like, so say like the foundations, Chroma Luminous is so much more lightweight compared to Chroma Matte. So like, you know, and it's like, I definitely think it's, with makeup, especially when you kind of get older, like it's more about softening, like having more of like a softer
100%. You can't be caked, and you can't. That's why I'm funny about powders and things like that, because I hate anything that looks too caked.
I get you.
We can't get off with it.
No,
you know,
no.
At our age, we can't get off.
No, stop, Gee. No, you look fantastic. Look, this is our glamorous magician's assistant, Debbie McGee. Do you remember Debbie McGee?
I bloody do.
You're Debbie McGee. I'm Paul Daniels. But
she dance like her.
But look, you can see it on Mama G. Don't look at my face; it's a bit haggard.
Jerry,
do you think? I don't know. I've had it on quite a long time.
Yourself like that again, Gerry.
Thanks, Mama G. Oh, stop. But guys,
only talk kindly.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But the discount code Pop My Cherry, it will get you discount. Of course, we appreciate anybody that does use it. It helps us keep producing these episodes. And thanks again to Be Perfect Cosmetics for sponsoring this episode. And we're going to get back into it. Okay, so we've kind of covered a lot about your story, and you know, obviously we have touched on a lot of, I suppose, serious subjects here. You know, and I think the one thing I think will definitely show like Life Now, the turnaround. You know, so like tell everybody about what you're doing now. So you've got the Monday Club. Tell us a bit about what is that.
Yeah. Well, the Monday Club is, again, it was something I said earlier on about doing, you know, going around the forest on the Monday and just loving my Mondays again and doing my wee Monday motivation.
Yeah.
So obviously the Monday Club came from that, and it's just like a little group, a wee subscription group that women can join any time, and you can leave it at, you know, at any time as well. And what we do is we do so much in it. So there's like I need to update the website actually very soon, but there's loads and loads on the website. And I do write courses on it as well, things that just help me throughout in that last 10 years, things that I did. And, you know, there's a course that I can write back to your childhood as well, you know, to deal with things, like to deal with trauma and different things as well. It's very good. So there's courses on it, there's meditations on it, there's book clubs on it, there's, you know, in-person meetups on it too. And as I say, I'll be on there a lot more than I'll be on my ordinary thing. And they see... I'm not going to say the real me because I think everybody sees me. Yeah. But I'd be more open there because
that's your community. I get you.
I mean, I'll be on there saying, you know, I've had a terrible day today, everybody, and I'm feeling shit, or you know, and so it's not like they're my therapy as well as I'm their therapy. You know, when they get we one-to-ones with me too. We've a weight loss group on it as well. You know, it's just. Like, I just think women, as they get older, are feeling a wee bit lost. Although of all ages, we've young mummies on it as well, you know, and we've older people on it too. And it's just lovely to hear that somebody else, you know, is having that problem. Like somebody else is having money problems and somebody else has got somebody that's drinking too much. And we're just kind of all dealing with it together. Yeah. To find that thing that I talked to you, the secret ingredient, which is contentment.
Contentment, yeah.
So that's the Monday Club, yes.
And then the books. So you've got an e-book and then... There was a book. Was there a book?
Yes, I wrote a wee book called Capture Your Monday, and that's a wee book which I'm so proud of. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get a copy from myself as well. So it's just a wee book with 52 Monday motivations. So you just literally, it's not in sequence. You can open it at any day and read it. It could be a Monday, it could be any day of the week. With your wee cup of coffee before you crash into your day, I would urge you to sit down and just read something positive, be a positive quote or whatever, but much better if it's my Monday motivation out of Capture Your Monday. And it just brings you back down to earth to appreciate things that we better
keeps you grounded. Yeah.
Keeps you grounded.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. It's like we always say on here, like stopping and smelling the roses. We say quite a lot actually. It's like taking that minute for yourself and just really like
do you know when you always
reflect
have to
and appreciate and feel gratitude. Gratitude's such a powerful thing. God. Just really it humbles you in a way, doesn't it?
It's an emotion when you have it.
Yeah.
You can't feel any other emotion.
Yeah.
Right? So if you genuinely are feeling grateful, you can't feel angry with anybody.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, you get not at the same yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right enough, yeah.
You can't feel angry or mad or whatever. You can feel if you have this proper gratitude, and that's what it means. But I mean, you have to try really hard with your gratitude as well.
Course. And I think it's practicing gratitude. It's not something that just you can very easily. It takes work. It takes.
But I always think that anything it's common knowledge that our day can change like that.
Yeah.
So news, and I always say, you know, when I talked about it, and I said, you know, news will come in someday that'll change our lives forever. And how grateful are we that we are at the stage that hasn't happened in our lives yet, but it will happen, and you will wish for today. This day that you're sitting in front of the fire, bored, thinking that everybody's out having a great time, and you're just sitting there, you will dream of that day because a day will come that will change your life forever, and you'll wish for those ordinary, simple wee days.
I know.
Not right?
Yeah. And this might sound silly. I remember one time, like whenever I was like a student, I remember I accidentally like went round about the wrong way, and like just like say like was in like a collision.
Yeah.
Thankfully was all okay. Everybody was okay. Like somebody drove into me. But I just remember in that instant moment, I was like, God, I would do anything to be back to 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I remember that 5 minutes ago, I was sitting stressing, thinking, oh my God, like. Uni, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Or like there was like so consumed about all these silly things that didn't even matter. It's weird, isn't it?
Exactly.
You know, it's so true. We really don't like really appreciate and be present in the now. Yeah. Sometimes we're reflecting and worrying about the future so much, or we're living and being tormented in the past.
Forgot about.
I know, and it's all we really have is right now. Like
right now,
when you think about it, like this moment right now,
it's hard.
It's
like
hard.
Say,
you have
all
to
you
really,
have.
like yeah,
it's all you have. But by Jesus, it's hard.
Yeah,
because we're always thinking, the mind's racing all the time because of the world we're living in now.
I know it's such a fast-paced world. Yeah. No, I know. And then, so there was that, and then the ebook.
The ebook is out now as well. I released it in November, and I released it in an ebook first, but there will be a proper I shouldn't say a proper, but a hard book.
A hard copy, yes.
My thing is, like, I really do want,
you want
my
that.
book. I have my wee book, I'm very proud of Monday Motivation. I have my ebook. It was like I start a book every year, go to Australia. So that's what I do. My inspiration comes in. I started last year when I went to Australia at the end of January, and it took 11 months, literally, before it was completed to go out. And I will do the same this year. And I just want a really gorgeous hardback book this time. And it'll be like memoirs and stuff like that of me. But, God knows it could be a wee bit fictional too. But I really do want, I think, self-help books is what helped me. It's the way to go of honest, ordinary stories of ordinary people. People will go out and buy the book because Mel Robbins read it or because, I don't know, what do you call her, Oprah?
Oh, yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
You should be buying the book of me and buying the book of Gerry. Because we're full of the ordinary stories that happen everyday people. You know?
I know.
Instead of freaking giving Oprah your bloody money.
She's enough.
But it's not right. Isn't that
You are a Del boy.
But I mean, get the PR sale in here.
Del boy and Rodney
I'm very proud of the book, and you'll get the instant download through as well.
No, I know.
But the book isn't just. It's for somebody who literally maybe is thinking, well, do you know what? I don't think I have a problem, but I'm not happy when I'm drinking. I don't like getting drunk, or I don't like it the next day having that wee bit of a thing. It's to help you. Nobody has to go on and hit trauma like the way I did and become suicidal. You can stop at any time, It's for families as well of people that are drinking too much. There's sections in it, Gerry, about everything. From what is an alcoholic going right down through. There's a wee course in the middle of it as well, that one going back through down to your childhood about your trauma. So it's all everyday stuff too. It's about navigating AA. It's about talking to your relatives about it. It's about helping somebody who's thinking a family member. It is everything in it. It's 20 chapters.
Oh my God.
So I did pour my heart and soul into it. And yes, it's available in my link in my bio.
Yeah. And then let everybody know as well. We'll do that at the end. We'll do the handles and stuff at the end. But I suppose to conclude, if you were to give advice to anybody out there that's maybe struggling in any way, because I think anybody could relate to this episode in some capacity. If you were to give any advice, what would you say?
I would say never sit and suffer in silence, because I did that. And it is always worse. Something is always 10 times worse in your own head than it is when you say it out loud. So I always think get it out as well. And I always think don't borrow sufferings from tomorrow. So you're never going to be content today if you're worrying about that meeting tomorrow or whatever it may be.
Oh my God.
And that's so true.
Yeah.
Don't borrow sufferings from tomorrow, because a lot of things they're never going to happen in your life. It's never going to be as bad. And we're borrowing these sufferings and inflicting them on ourselves today about something that might never happen.
It might never happen. Yeah. I love it. I'd say that's one of my favourite I've heard on this.
Oh.
I've never heard that before. Yeah. No, I love that. It's so true.
Yeah, so true.
You could get
most of what you worry about will never happen.
Yeah. But it's the fact, you're nearly ruining the now, worrying about something in the future that you don't even know will be the outcome. You can't be content
today if you're worrying about something that may or may not might go well tomorrow. The meeting might go shit.
Yeah.
But you worrying about it today is not going to make it go any different, but it's going to ruin your day to day. So yeah.
No, I love that one. And then I suppose to anybody out there that maybe has a family member that's maybe going through a tough time or maybe is struggling with any addiction, what would you kind of say to them, I suppose?
First of all, I would say please always have hope, because everybody can get better. Now, some people don't. There's some people never get it.
I know.
It's sad to say that.
Yeah.
But everybody has the ability inside them to get better. But the other thing is you have to know when to walk away as well. You cannot be treated like shit, basically. You cannot be abused and treated badly because somebody, is abusive during the drinking. So that's what I mean.
Yeah,
I don't want people to give up on anybody, and I want you always to have hope, but I want you to have tough love as well. Yeah. It takes tough love.
Yeah.
It's tough love that in my family relationship, it was something that was said to me in tough love that made me, now it was a few months before I acted on it, but the seed was planted and I acted on it eventually.
Yeah. No, I love that. I've honestly loved having you on.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I was really delighted when you asked me, Gerry, because I thought, you know, my story really isn't that lighthearted or whatever, but you know, I love talking.
But you're such a fun, you are such a fun bundle of joy, though.
Oh,
thank you. And I've always valued you. And
I genuinely think, honest to God, I wasn't joking at the very beginning when I said, oh, Jesus, my 2025 is because I was asked on and Gerry Laughs,
really?
My Gerry podcast. Yeah.
Oh, you can do better than that.
No, if nothing else happens to me this year, I've been in the Gerry Laugh podcast.
Oh,
and I'm
stop
delighted.
it. Oh, stop. No,
swear to God.
Well, do you know what? It's made my year that you have come on. I just think that this is such a special episode. And I'm not saying that because you're here. Genuinely.
But it is lovely.
And I've really enjoyed this conversation.
And anything, you know, we could have talked about anything there. And it was, you know, it was heartfelt, it was relatable, but it's real life.
It's real life.
It's real life. And these things are happening, these things are going on, you know, and with so much to learn. And a lot of what I've said won't make sense to you maybe until you are that bit older. Because it's with age that comes wisdom. They say that, and it's so true.
It's true. It's true. It really, really is. Right, Mama G, where can everybody find you? Social media?
You can find me on Instagram, Serenity 10X. So it's Serenity Ten, Serenity 10X. I'm on TikTok, but I've hardly any followers over there, and I'm shite at it. I'm never. They told me that.
This is about this part where you're meant to sell yourself.
Well, anyway, they told me that TikTok is brittle, and I just.
I know, stay away from it.
I don't get any negativity. I get nothing.
No, I wouldn't be a big fan of it.
And I wouldn't be bothered with that. I
No,
carry on there.
no.
But anyway, so no, I'm not really on over there either.
No.
So my Instagram, you can find me over there, and you can find it all about the Monday Club and the wee books, and just joining me, you know, because I'm going to have wee outings this year. I'm going to Australia for a couple of months, so I'll be on from over there as well. But that always motivates me to come home and do a bit of a community thing, or a wee event or something like that, you know. So
no, I love that. No, honestly, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for asking. It's been a pleasure.
I just think you're such an inspiration, and and the thing is as well, she's such a laugh. She's just such a great person. Like my sister and mum, they love watching all. And Ma doesn't have Instagram, and she's like, "Let me see what Geraldine's at." She always has to keep on top of it, and her Kira loves it too. And anybody I know, you've done so much. But I think your story definitely will resonate with so many people in different communities. And I hope that anybody listening to this episode, I hope it isn't overwhelming or but it is real life. This is the reality of it. And I think the one thing to conclude with here is, with hope, anything can be turned around, and you just always have to see the good in situations. And life can be hard, you can be at rock bottom, but you can always get to the top of the mountain. You really, really can. But Geraldine, thank you so much for coming on. I've really valued this conversation. But guys, that is this episode. If you want to keep up to date with upcoming episodes, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to follow us over on our social medias. All the details, and Geraldine's Instagram is in the description below as well. So make sure to check her out. Keep on top of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And if you are wanting to top up with some makeup products, make sure to obviously go with Be Perfect Cosmetics and the code Pop My Cherry. Yes, how you're doing the magic hands. The code Pop My Cherry will get you that cheeky discount. And thank you so much for using it. But that's all. Thank you, Geraldine.
Thank you,
That's
Gerry.
a wrap. That's a wrap.